Now I think I'm recording. I did a whole video holding this thing up, thought I was recording, and it was just in picture mode. Golly, just wasted all that. Anyway, I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm at Wood National Cemetery. A cemetery that I've been to before, 9 years ago. Yeah, and I was right here at this very spot with this 60-foot granite monument behind me. I got a picture here. Sometimes I've used it before as my profile picture on Facebook and elsewhere. But it's one of my favorite shots was right here at this monument with the flagpole. Where'd the flagpole? It's behind the monument. Let me move so you can see. There we go. Got a shot with the flagpole and the I don't know how I set it up last time, but I had one of these cannons in the picture and the flagpole behind me. I took a picture a while ago, but I don't know if it was it was a selfie. Yeah, I did something like this. I can't remember. All right, there we go. There we go. Yeah, I did one of these shots somehow. Anyway, so anyway, this cemetery has been here since right after the Civil War, 1867, and right back that way is the whole VA medical center that's over there. It used to be called the Soldiers Home back right after the Civil War. That's what they called them back then. So this is where the Soldiers Home is where the Civil War veterans would go after the Civil War if they had any kind of illness or things started not, or they had the wounds or whatever they were recovering from. So they would wind up down at the Soldiers Home. That's where you would go to get care if you were a veteran. Today it's the VA Medical Center, but it's old buildings, real old buildings. I drove through there and took some pictures, and they're old, man. It's really cool to see. But it's still in use today. So, individual that I'm here to see was a guy named Michael McCormick. He was an Irishman that came over to the United States. He was born in 1833, and he came over to the United States at 20-something years old, and moved here. Wound up here in the Milwaukee area, and in 1861, the war broke out. He joined the Union Navy, so he's a sailor. Today we call it the United States Navy, U.S. Navy. So he joined the Navy, and he enlisted in that war, the Civil War. And he wound up on a ship called the USS Signal, Signal. It was a steamship. It was bought by the Union Navy, and they outfitted it to be a gunboat to run up and down the rivers and create chaos and havoc. Anyway, he wound up down in Texas and Louisiana, all the way from up here. About 30 years old. He was on the USS Signal, and he wound up down on the Red River in Louisiana in May of 1863, I believe. And they did a lot of damage down there with some other U.S. or Navy ships, gunboats. Look that up, that USS Signal. It's a pretty cool looking. I'll try to post some pictures with these pictures that I'll post later, but I'll put the picture of that ship up. But he was on that ship, he received a Medal of Honor, which is why he's buried right here around this monument. Well, he's actually not buried here, but his headstone is here. It's a memorial headstone. But um, he was on that ship. He received a Medal of Honor for an act of valor when they came under fire from Confederate sharpshooters and cannons that were sitting on the riverbanks down on the Red River. They were overtaken on May 5th, 1863. I believe it was 1863. Anyway, they were overtaken, or 1865. They were overtaken, and he refused to leave his gun until ordered to do so. So it was he maintained fire when all hope was lost. But what they wound up doing once they had to run up the white flag, they had to surrender because they were outnumbered and outgunned at one point, and they wound up setting that ship on fire, burn it to keep the Confederate Navy from getting a hold of it and using it for their purpose. So after they were captured, they were sent to, he was one of them, he wound up at a prisoner of war camp in Tyler, Texas. Camp was called Camp Ford, F-O-R-D. That's where he wound up until the end of the war, when the final prisoner swap was done. That's when he made his way back home here to Milwaukee in 1865. Yeah. So a few weeks later, after he got home, he started running a fever that he couldn't get rid of. He got bad, so he wound up here at the soldiers' home. And at 33 years old, he died from that fever. Today, we know it as malaria. So he had contracted malaria while down in Louisiana or down in Texas. The only way you get malaria is from an infected mosquito. So he got bit. Probably several others did too. But he got bit and he got it bad and he never recovered from it. He died. Now his memorial marker is right here. But he's buried at a private cemetery, because before this cemetery was here, they were burying the soldiers and sailors in private cemeteries in this area. They believe his body is buried at the Calvary Cemetery, a place called Calvary Cemetery here locally. There's a lot of trench graves is where they wound up, where they didn't record. They recorded that they were buried there, but unless they were to dig them up and prove who they were, which they're not going to do, they just have to guess as to where they're probably at. But his memorial marker's here. Anyway, he died. I didn't know this till I got here. He died May 19th, 1865. Today is May 19th, 2025. I just happened to be here. So, 160 years ago today is when he passed away. Died right over here at the soldiers' home. So I thought that was pretty cool timing, but I just happened to be here. Anyway, that's all. I just wanted to say a little something. It's a little too cold for me to stand out here very long. My fingers are hurting now. So, God. So I'm going to try and play taps. I don't know how good it's going to go. We've got a lot of noise from the highway back here. And it's cold. And generally when it's cold, your lips do not function the same way as they do when it's warm. Yeah. It's a more difficult task. So I'm going to try it though. We'll see how it goes. All right. And then I'm out of here. I got to drive to Madison, Wisconsin, which is about an hour away from here. So let me get this done and get out of here. All right, y'all. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.